The first is transplantation brought surgical organisation. Surgery wasn't just a one-off event. It involved many people. It involved donors, involved coordinating multiple teams. Even with this first living related donor successfully accomplished in Boston, the operating theatres were chock-a-block with people, surgical organisation. The second thing is it gave immunology something useful to do. It was the first practical implementation of anything to do with the science of immunology that had any real relevance to people, to their livelihoods, to their life. And the third is it really brought us the intersection of law, ethics, and medical practice. Because transplantation has, and still does, challenge the legal systems of the world and the ethical systems of the world. So if the Transplantation Society exists in 50 years, its core mission of clinical application of science to allow the transplantation of living material from one person to another, I think that may still exist. I think the most important things that have happened to this society in the last 6 or 8 years is to do with the development of membership. We've gone from a membership of around 2,000 to 7,500. The affiliation of national societies with the society, the integration and yet the separation of the different interests in the sections, the development of the relationships with the WHO and with the International Society of Nephrology around the Declaration of Istanbul. Well, the society has evolved and broadened dramatically over the last 10 years. Education, research, development of science, development of professional practice. One thing important as we go forward, I think, is to integrate with the regulatory environments around the world. Okay. To understand what those regulatory environments are wanting and trying to do, and making sure that transplantation isn't damaged in the process. I think an understanding that clinical tolerance is a practical reality is the thing that's been most interesting to me. We've seen it in animals from way back, but could we develop it in a clinically applicable process? And the 3 teams that have got something going here are showing us that yes, it can be done. So Transplantation Society can bring knowledge, can bring impetus, can bring interest. And those things are really important in developing transplantation across the breadth of the types of organ transplants that occur, and to environments where transplantation may not necessarily be seen to be the right investment in health, but in fact is a much better investment in health than some of the chronic dialysis treatments, for example. Xenotransplantation and cellular regenerative medicines. And I think they both have a promise that is built on grants and getting grants. I'm yet to be confident that xenotransplantation is going to be able to make the leap into clinical practice. It's been knocking at the door for so long and nobody's answering. Some of the regenerative medicines that are hypothesized to be helpful are probably too complicated to implement. A simple one cell, one function myocyte, perhaps. But a multicellular, complex organ built from scratch, I think that's a bit optimistic. Let's hope I'm wrong. To exceed our expectations in transplantation means that we're going to be able to deliver more care to more people with less side effects and less complexity and better outcomes. I think we will be able to take the leap in patient survival that's needed. People think we're doing it right now, but we are not. Patient survival is about a tenth of what it should be in terms of life expectancy at any age. I think we will make that progression, but it won't be one leap. Okay. Nothing has happened in one leap. Everything has been incremental steps building on success, and I think that's what will happen. Why is it important to be a TTS member? The Transplantation Society is really a close-knit community of maybe 10 or 15 or possibly 20,000 people around the world working in one area, each in their own disciplines, each with their own organ specialist environments, each with their own set of regulatory, legal, cultural problems. But we've got one science, one biology in the middle there. To join together to understand and work with the biology that we deal with, that's critically important. So to be a TTS member means you're part of the group of people who are knitted together looking at the same problems in different ways.